You know, before we did the freeze, we couldn't find out anything about some of these programs. And USAID in particular, they refused to tell us anything. We won't tell you what the money's going to, where the money's for, who has it, which contractor it's been. You know, in some cases it goes through 4 different contractors before it reaches the intended recipient. These are not my numbers, these are USAID's number. In some cases with USAID, 10, 12, 13%, maybe less of the money was actually reaching the recipient, and the rest was going into the overhead and the bureaucracy. This isn't my money. This is taxpayer money.
The numbers are astounding. Joining us now for more, Alabama Senator Katie Britt. Senator, so nice to have you on this evening. There was a report out today.
Thank you.
That said that a lot of this funding that was earmarked to go to other countries was lost. Marco Rubio called it large-scale money laundering. Do you agree with that assessment?
Look, yes, it is remarkable in all of the wrong ways. First off, aren't we glad to have a commander-in-chief back? It feels good to have a president. It feels good to actually achieve peace through strength, and it feels good to be respected in the world again. President Trump ran on the fact that he was going to create safety and security for the American people and prosperity. He said we will use your tax dollars wisely. He is getting to the bottom of where these tax dollars are going, and as Secretary Rubio has said, it is mind-boggling to see where the trail leads. It is important for us to get these answers. The American people deserve to know, and there needs to be accountability for every single dollar spent. So this is an exciting time. I can promise you this, the more we dig, the more we will uncover, and the more remarkable in all the wrong ways it will be. But ultimately, at the end of the day, when Secretary Rubio, President Trump, and President Trump's cabinet get to the bottom of this, American taxpayer dollars will go to things that are fruitful, things that we intend for them to. They aren't going to go for woke agendas, and they certainly aren't going to go to prop up overhead in other countries for programming that we do not agree with. So it is a new day in America, and it sure does feel good.
Gave me chills. I totally agree. I want to go through these just because every day we're uncovering programs that we didn't know about a day before. $2.5 million for EVs in Vietnam, $2 million for sex change operations in Guatemala, $70,000 for a DEI musical in Ireland, which is, I have some Irish blood in me, and I just think that's sort of hysterical. $47,000 for transgender operas in Colombia, $30 million to study AIDS among sex workers and trans people in South Africa, $32,000 for a transgender comic book series in Peru, $2.5 million for DEI in Serbia. Vietnam got $11 million to fight trash burning. I don't know what that is. I assume that's burning trash. Central America got $27 million, Senator, for deportee gift bags. So when you deport someone, like you take your kids to a birthday party, they get a gift bag valued up to $100 US. How stunning is that?
Robert, it is absolutely unbelievable. It is unacceptable, and it stops today. Here's the deal. You know what that list that you should be reading out of where our taxpayer dollars go? What about our veterans who have given it all for us, who are willing to put their life on the line and sacrifice for the safety and security of this country? What about taking care of them? What about taking care and looking at our children, creating educational opportunities? You saw President Trump sign an executive order saying we are going to ensure that every child has that foundational educational opportunity that allows them to achieve the American dream. What about making sure that dollars go? What about these single moms, American citizens that are struggling to make ends meet, that are trying to provide for their family? What about child care costs? What about things that Americans need? When we go to the gas pump or the grocery store, we are feeling the pain. But yet this previous administration has turned a blind eye and has sent it to a woke agenda in countries far, far away. Look, we understand our place in the world. We understand the need to help people, but we will not advance a liberal agenda at the sake and putting our own citizens at a detriment. It stops today, and it feels good for Americans to be put first, and for us to actually getting answers for these tax checks that we're sending to the federal government. There is finally accountability as to where it's going, and there is going to be more of what you're seeing now in the days to come.
And Senator, I like that we can now have these conversations. Does this go beyond USAID? In an interview just days ago, President Zelensky of Ukraine said that he has no idea where approximately $100 billion in U.S. money went. If that's true, that is the crime of the new century, Senator.
Absolutely. And listen, Rob, look, I'm over it. I have been here for 2 years, and I have continually said I am sick of the people in these buildings not doing their job. We have to make sure that these dollars, where we know where they're going, and we are accountable to the American people. Kicking the can down the road, turning a blind eye, acting like this is monopoly money with no consequences, those days are over. We are $36 trillion in debt. That is not just fiscally irresponsible, it is morally irresponsible. And it ends when President Trump took that oath of office and walked into the Oval Office once again. We finally were able to allow America to regain ground. We are going to change this for future generations. They will look back at this moment and say, this is when America got back on track. This is when they were reminded of who they were, what this country standed for, and creating opportunity for its people. It is an exciting time. This is just the beginning. Look, it is going to be challenging to keep up with President Trump because he knows there is so much to do to get this country back on track, but it's exciting, and I am excited to be a part of it.
Can I just ask you quickly, Pam Bondi was just confirmed, I believe, to be our next Attorney General.
Yes.
I think that just happened. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So we just voted her 54 votes for her to be the next Attorney General. Speaking of a good day, we have seen the Department of Justice weaponized over the last 4 years. And today it's a new day. No more woke and weaponization. Now it's back to safety and security of the American people. When you look at the American people's lack of faith in the Department of Justice and the FBI, we know that Pam will bring and restore the credibility that Americans deserve to see in that agency. And also, you think about the last 4 years. You think about them going after parents at school board meetings who were speaking up to ensure that their children weren't indoctrinated. You think about people who were practicing their Catholic faith that we now know they were sending people after. Look, enough is enough. And excitingly, Pam Bondi is going to return that credibility. She is going to make sure that we actually tackle the problems, crime that is facing our country. Look at fentanyl deaths that under Joe Biden, leading cause of death between the ages of 18 and 45, and yet he sat on his hands and did nothing. We know where that fentanyl is coming. With Pam Bondi at the helm, with her expertise and the work that she did as the Attorney General of Florida, our children are going to be safer and more secure as a result, and the American people are going to finally have faith in the Department of Justice once again.
All right, Alabama Senator Katie Britt, appreciate you being with us tonight. Great to see you. Thank you.